already catching up with the Bud driver, Kasey Kahne. First off, looking back at the first session, the one thing that stood out to you and your team about your car?
What was it? Let me think. I forget. It was pretty good, actually.
By the way, just to let you know, although times really don't matter, you were second on the board.
I knew I was second, so it must be decent. We got in the right draft at the right time. But yeah, it drove good. I could stay right on the white line. That was good. That's tough to do here at times when it's hot. And
you remember if you had any kind of tire problems?
We did have a little bit of a right front tire problem, so we switched it and put it on the right rear, and it got worse. And that's why we need this practice, to put a new set on and see what they do. But that was kind of the main concern. And then we were just trying to fine-tune the balance a little bit, but it felt good.
Going back to when the series was here in February to where it is now, you've already run Talladega and now coming back for the third plate race. Do you feel like this team has made some gains in the plate program, and if so, where?
I feel like we were pretty good at the 500, and we've made a few gains, I would say, with the car, but this is a similar car to what we had then, and then the engine has a little more power, so that's good. I think the engine shop did a great job, and I felt as competitive, in that practice as I did in Daytona in July, February.
February, Daytona 500.
All right, that's what it was.
When you look back to restrictor plate racing and drafting, was that one of the hardest elements, the hardest discipline for someone to master coming into NASCAR?
I would say the short tracks have been the toughest, were the toughest for me coming in. The first couple of years, the Martinsvilles and short tracks, lots of braking, flatter racetracks. Martinsville, maybe New Hampshire, that type of track was my toughest track. This is easier because you just run wide open, and if you get loose or tight, you just lift a little bit, and that's a little bit easier. Now, putting your car in the right spot at the right time, you need a good Budweiser Dodge to do that, and then you need the right people pushing you, and all that comes with experience. But just to ride around this track is much easier than Martinsville.
As far as practice as well, what stood out about your car? Was it better as a pusher, or was it better to have your car out front of a pack?
I was always, I never got to the front. I was always kind of back in the pack pushing and getting pushed, and it seemed fine. I didn't have too many cars behind me, and I could still stick with the car in front of me, which was Tony for a while, and then Ryan Newman for a while. And I could stick with him, and we could kind of move up through some cars. So I thought it was decent. Usually you need a car behind, or usually I need a car behind me to stay up to the bumper in front of me, and I didn't have that, and I could still stick with him pretty decent. So maybe better than before.
Well, it's good news he's running those two cars, because they finished first and third back in February here at the Daytona 500.
Well, as Matt pointed out, Kasey was second quickest right behind Kurt Busch, and he said he had a little bit of an issue with the right front tire.